You may have been driving for years, you might even be a new driver, but I bet you didn't know these crucial insurance rules.
Now, being uninsured or not insured properly can have serious consequences in the event of a collision or if you're stopped by police.
Now, to some, it might seem simple, but we need to quickly talk about how to sawn your car, because it's really important. Parking on private land doesn't automatically mean you're exempt from insurance. Without declaring it as off the road, sawn, you'll still legally be required to be insured and taxed. Owen, would you mind breaking it down and helping explain?
Yeah, so since 2011, there's been such a thing as continuous insurance enforcement. And what that means is that your vehicle needs to be insured unless it's sawn. So if you take, for example, if you've got a project car that you're not using, if you don't put it as sawn on the government website, then you have to insure it.
That's a really interesting point, because I actually took my Focus and I left it on my drive and didn't drive it for quite a while, as you know. But I was blissfully unaware that I had to, in fact, make it sawn. It was still insured, and then when my insurance ran out and I moved to another policy, I just didn't know what I had to do. So that's a really interesting point, but I think we've got lots more that we can learn.
Yeah, so what you also need to understand with it is that once you've put it sawn, as soon as you tax it again, the sawn is cancelled, and then you need to have insurance on that vehicle. And also, if you are selling a vehicle, make sure that you complete the new keeper supplement or you fill in the form online that tells DVLA that you're no longer the keeper of that vehicle. Otherwise, you need to have insurance on a vehicle that potentially you don't own. So just make sure you follow that process.
Thank you. Now, driving somebody else's car can often be very tempting, but also quite confusing when it comes to the law of doing so, as we found out by speaking to members of the public. Are you aware of what the rules are when it comes to driving someone else's car? Can you just hop into your friend's car and drive if you're fully comp?
Yes. It depends on what it actually says in the policy. Most, or some at least, will let you.
On your car insurance. See, we have this debate because he drives the school car, and I'm like, you're insured for your car, but not necessarily to drive another person's vehicle, unless the insurance is in your individual use.
No, I don't think so. Potentially, don't know.
No, you've got to check your insurance policy for the line-by-line detail, whether you're allowed to do that.
Fully comprehensive cover doesn't always mean you can hop in your mate's car and drive. Now, as we know, DOV cover varies, so will you help explain to avoid them getting into trouble?
Yeah, so by DOV, George, means driving other vehicles, and sometimes that will be on your fully comprehensive cover, but not necessarily. So you need to check that specifically to look to see whether it covers you to drive somebody else's car. But also, in order to be able to drive that car has to have its own dedicated policy. You can't just jump in any car and just drive it. You must make sure that that car has its own dedicated policy. A lot of insurance companies won't cover you if you're under 25 as well, so be very, very careful with that and just check it carefully. And the other thing you need to remember is that although you've got a fully comprehensive insurance and the other car might have a fully comprehensive insurance, when you're driving it, it's only third-party cover. So be very, very careful with that, and be careful if you're lending your car out to somebody else as well for them to drive under similar circumstances, because they're only driving it on a third-party cover.
Thank you, mate. That's almost got me into trouble lots of times, so I appreciate that. Now, we all know a friend or family member that's added a parent onto their policy as the main driver just for a discount. Now, that's called fronting. So this is Liv, and we're actually outside the Plymouth College of Art right now, and I've got a question all about fronting. Now, my question to you is, have you ever used a parent or friend on your car insurance policy to try and lower the premium?
Yes.
I used to be on my dad's car's insurance.
Not that I know of, but I've heard about it.
Better question, do you know anyone else that's done it?
Yes.
100%, I'd say nearly all of them, so yeah.
Okay, now I'm not asking for names, but I did the same when I was younger. My friends did it, family and friends, but again, you don't know innocently that it's actually fraud, and you can end up with points. You could potentially end up with a ban or potentially prison time.
Oh my God!
Now, Owen, would you mind breaking that down and helping us understand more?
Yeah, so if you're insuring your vehicle, you can't get somebody else to insure it for you that is going to bring that policy cost down, if that makes sense. So as the insurer of the vehicle, if you're the main driver, it has to be you that insures that vehicle. You can't get your mum or your dad or somebody else who's got maybe more experience or might perhaps live at a different address that can bring that policy cost down. It has to be you as the main driver that insures that vehicle and is the main policy holder.
So I can imagine a lot of people innocently make that mistake because they've heard from a friend it's probably a good thing to do. But what would the consequences be if you were to actually do that?
So there's three things that could happen as a result of it. The first one is that the insurance company could void your insurance policy. The second is that they could charge you an additional premium to make sure that everybody's covered properly on the car. Or the third thing is that they could do a pro rata payment, which means that they will charge you effectively a back payment to cover the time where it wasn't properly insured.
Now, if you're someone that's gone to have a work meeting with your personal insurance on your car, then you're going to want to pay attention to this one. Did you know that if you drive to work and your policy only covers social use, then you may be breaking the law without realising it? Owen, help break this down because I think so many people just don't understand.
Yeah, so you need to be telling the insurance company exactly what you're using the car for or the vehicle. So if it's just for social, domestic and pleasure, then that's what you tell them. If you are commuting to work and that's one place of work only, you can't go to multiple places, just one place, then that's commuting on top of your social, domestic and pleasure. However, if you are using it for business use, and that could be anything in relation to your business, so it could just be popping over to another place that the business is, or even going out just to meet a client or anything like that, then that is business use and you have to tell them that you're using it for business. On top of that, if you're using it for things like deliveries, then you've got hire and reward, and that would be bolted on top of the business use as well. So there are different things that you have to tell the insurance company for in relation to what you're using the vehicle for.
So technically, had we met up for a coffee to just talk about videos and brainstorm, that would be business use, and my car to drive here would need to be covered by business insurance.
Yes, because you're using it in connection with your business.
Okay, thank you for that.
Now there are consequences if you get some of this wrong. So if you're uninsured or you don't get the policy correct for what you're using the vehicle for, then there could be serious consequences later down the line, or if you get stopped by the police. So getting stopped by the police could end up with you getting 6 points and quite a big fine. But also you've got the consequences if you crash. So if you were to crash into a lamppost, for instance, and you're not properly insured, you're going to get billed for a substantial amount of money that the insurance company will initially pay out, but it's likely that they will come and try and collect that money back from you if you haven't properly insured your vehicle. And if you hit something like a lamppost, you're potentially looking at maybe £10,000, and they will try and recoup that money from you. So you've got to think about what are you insuring. So the risk is determined by the insurance company based on the information that you give them. And if you give them incorrect information, then the policy that they give you isn't right for what you're using the car for or for your vehicle. And if you get that wrong, then potentially those consequences may well come your way.
Too good to be true car insurance deals on social media could mean you're buying insurance from a ghost broker, which actually means you're uninsured. 52% of British adults are actually unaware of ghost broking. If something does look too good to be true, just remember you need to be checking for things like this. So, number one, the FCA, the Financial Conduct Authority, and also the MIB. These are the things that can give you the peace of mind that you need to know that you're actually buying from the right people. And also, if you're buying through a broker, they need to be registered with BIBA, the British Insurance Brokers Association. Now, if you're actually stopped by the police, you have all the same consequences of not being insured. And if you're in a collision, you're just not going to get a payout. And it's very likely you're going to end up on the insurance fraud register. After watching this video, if you still think you're insured, please just check your documents. It's not worth making any careless mistakes. Now, Owen, to the viewers watching, if they want to make sure that they're doing everything within the eyes of the law, something that you'd be very happy of, what do you recommend?
Well, like you just said, make sure that you check those documents and make sure everything on them is absolutely correct. Also, when you're buying the policy, just make sure you declare everything about your use of the vehicle and everything about the vehicle to the insurance company so that they know everything they need to know in order to be able to assess the risk and give you a proper price on that policy so that you are properly covered.
Now, thank you very much for watching this video, but do yourself a favour, go check your policy documents. And if you haven't already, put a thumbs up on it, drop us a comment underneath this video, and please subscribe for more content just like this.